Rent or buy? It's one of the biggest financial questions you'll ever face. And now, the answer is trickier than ever. Interest rates are high, home prices are unpredictable, and rent is rising too. One headline says renting is smarter in most cities. Another says buying still builds wealth. They're both right, depending on your situation. In this video, you'll learn the simple formula to figure it out for yourself. No hype, no guesswork, just math. We'll break down the 5% rule, cost comparisons, global taxes, and more. By the end, you'll know exactly what makes sense for you. 5 variables swing the answer. Interest rate. Mortgage rates can move your payment by hundreds per month. A 1-point rate change can shift affordability dramatically. Price to rent ratio. It compares home prices to annual rent. High ratios hint that renting may be cheaper. Lower ratios can favor buying. Taxes. Property taxes, transfer taxes, or stamp duty, and whether you itemize deductions matter. Maintenance and homeowners association fees. Owners pay for roofs, appliances, landscaping, insurance gaps, and HOA dues. Renters generally don't. Time horizon. If you'll move within 5 to 7 years, buying usually struggles to beat renting after transaction costs, unless appreciation and refinancing tilt the math. Let's simplify all of that with one idea: the 5% rule. The 5% rule says, owning a home costs about 5% of its value per year in hidden or non-mortgage costs. Roughly 1% property taxes, varies by location. 1% maintenance/insurance, homeowners association fees on average over time. 3% opportunity cost, what the equity tied in your home could have earned elsewhere. It's a rule of thumb popularized by evidence-based planners to compare apples to apples with rent. Example, home price equals $500,000. 5% of $500,000 equals $25,000 per year, or about $2,083 per month. That's your invisible owner cost. Now compare it to annual rent for a comparable home. If comparable annual rent is less than $25,000, renting may be cheaper. If annual rent is more than $25,000, buying might be better if you'll stay long enough to cross break even. This gets you 80% of the way to a rational choice, fast. A mortgage payment only covers part of the cost of owning a home. When you buy, your actual monthly expense includes not just principal and interest, but also property taxes, homeowners insurance, and often homeowners association fees or maintenance. You also give up the potential investment growth from the money you put into the down payment. That's called opportunity cost. Renting is simpler. You pay rent and maybe a small amount for renter's insurance. That's it. So when people compare a $2,000 rent to a $2,000 mortgage, they're not really comparing the full cost picture. That's where the 5% rule comes in. It combines those hidden ownership costs into a single percentage, so you can make an apples-to-apples comparison. This rule helps simplify a complex decision into something you can actually evaluate. Buying has upfront friction, closing costs, potential points, and if you sell, commissions and transfer taxes. Your break-even horizon is when appreciation plus loan paydown overtake those frictions compared to renting. As a rule of thumb, many markets land around 5 to 7 years to break even, though it can be shorter or much longer depending on local price-to-rent ratios and rates. In places where price-to-rent is sky-high, calculators now show break-even stretching well beyond a decade, sometimes 20 to 30 years. That's why time horizon matters so much. Pro tip: use a reputable buy versus rent calculator to model your city with your numbers, and include refinance scenarios if you think rates could fall. Let's run 3 illustrative examples to show how the formula works in the real environment of elevated but off-peak mortgage rates. Scenario 1. Large city, high rates. Home price, $600,000. Rate, around 7% fixed. Comparable rent, $2,400 per month. 5% rule. 5% times $600,000 equals $30,000 per year, or around $2,500 per month hidden owner cost. Here, your owner cost proxy around $2,500 per month already exceeds the rent around $2,400 per month before adding principal interest volatility or maintenance surprises. Renting wins on cash flow and risk management. especially if you're unsure you'll stay 5 to 7 years. Scenario 2. Suburb, moderate rates. Home price, $350,000. Rate, around 6%. Rent, $1,800 per month. 5% rule. 5% times $350,000 equals $17,500 per year, or around $1,458 per month. Now the gap is smaller. If you plan to stay more than 6 years and expect modest appreciation, buying can be renting over time, especially if you refinance later. Scenario 3. Refinance path. Same as Scenario 2, but assume a refinance to around 4.5% in a few years if rates fall. That pulls forward the break-even year and strengthens the case for buying. This isn't just a U.S. story. A few global wrinkles matter. United States? Property taxes vary widely by state and locality and meaningfully affect owner costs. Don't assume a national average. Check your county's effective rate. Mortgage interest deduction only helps if you itemize. Many households don't after recent tax changes. Run the math for your return. United Kingdom. Stamp duty land tax adds a hefty, upfront cost when buying, banded by price and buyer type, so short stays favor renting. Council tax is also an ongoing cost for occupants. European Union. Strong renter protections and long-term tenancy norms mean renting can be attractive for flexibility. Buying often shines only over longer horizons and with stable plans. Closing costs and capital gains rules vary by country. Verify locally. Wherever you live, use the 5% rule. Then layer in regional taxes and break-even years before deciding. Here's your simple formula you can drop in a spreadsheet. Owner cost proxy, 5% times home price divided by 12 equals monthly hidden owner cost. Compared to rent, if rent is less than owner proxy, renting likely wins for short horizons. If rent is more than owner proxy, buying may win. Check horizon. Break-even check. Add purchase frictions. This includes closing costs, transfer taxes, commissions. Assume a reasonable appreciation rate and see how many years until buying overtakes renting. Refi scenario. Model payment if rates fall 1 or 2 points. See if that pulls forward break-even. Stress test. Add 10% to maintenance and insurance. Add 0.5% to the rate. Rerun. If buying still works, your plan is resilient. Buying isn't always better. Neither is renting. What matters is your financial situation, where you live, and how long you plan to stay. If you understand the 5% rule, the break-even horizon, and the real cost of ownership, you can make a smarter choice, not one driven by headlines or pressure, but one based on your numbers. If this video helped, like and share it with someone asking the same question. And subscribe to Byteplane for money breakdowns made simple. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Always do your own research or consult a licensed advisor before making major decisions.